10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Well, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good golly, Miss Molly. Welcome back to another Manic Monday on the channel. Welcome to my great friend, Pope Metallicus. How are you, buddy?
Doing great, man. Thanks for having me on.
No, it's good to have you here, mate. I didn't imagine for a minute a movie about lesbian vampires would be your thing.
I mean, it's got a couple things to recommend it.
It certainly has, but yes, welcome everybody. And today, of course, we're not canoning. We're not doing any other. We're doing Hammer. We're back to Hammer. We had a Hammer show some time ago, and I always felt that would be the start of doing many more Hammer films. So I figured it was about time we got around to it, because back in 1970, Hammer Films was in a transition period. Longtime creative director Tony Hines was leaving due to disagreements, and the studio was looking for outside producers and ideas. And at the same time, the Film Classification Board, the certificate system in Britain, was becoming a bit more permissive. So the Gothic horror was still on the menu, but sex was being added to the mix. Not that they didn't always have heaving bosoms in Hammer films. Just this time they were going to be heaving out of their costumes occasionally. Not that that's all there is to this movie. And the first fruits of this new direction for Hammer, of course, was 1970s, The Vampire Lover. So that's what we're here to talk about today. We're going to get hammered. So let's get hammered. Welcome to everybody in the chat. It's good to see you all. First of all, I would like to start with way back before the show even started, our good buddy Tim, FKHC 2005, $3 super chat from Tim. We're just waiting for the hammer to fall. Yes, yes.
Queens ever come up with.
Exactly. So thank you very much for that, Tim. I also would like to thank, she may not be watching today on the stream, but a few days ago, a super thanks comment on my 2K thank you video from Anti-Derivative Jill. Very wonderful lass. 5 days ago, $2 for her. Congrats on 2K. I just thought I'd better get that out there to thank Jill for doing that. These guys deserve a video clip and to thank them for their contribution. And there you go. And we even got a new one, but we'll come back to that one. We'll come back to that one because today is the 80th birthday of Richie Blackmore. Legendary. The legend.
The legendary and legendarily hard to work with.
Legendary curmudgeon. So the clip we're going to play, Richie and Ronnie in the same clip. So thank you to you guys, but also coming in hot, as he usually does, our great friend Christian from that wonderful channel on Rumble, Christian Delorme's Vinyl Revival, as a double high sticker member. My both channels. So he's a double high sticker on both channels. That's incredibly well done. Thank you, my friend. And obviously you're welcome to join any show you wish here, of course. I figured I should buy my great Scottish friend an ounce of whiskey. Well, with tariffs, that's now going to be like a microgram of whiskey. So long live hot sucking females. Well, we're probably never going to get this stream monetized. That's the way.
It's best to just get that one right out of the way.
Right out of the way. I love the way you put it, Christian. That's what she said. So thank you very much to you. You will also have to have a clip. Maybe this one. There's no audio in this, by the way, so that's not a mistake. There is no audio. So that was for Christian for his thank you for the $5 super chat. That's I don't know what happened to the audio on it, but it was too late to fix it. But that's one thing about this movie: a lot of women walking around in negligees in very drafty castles. These women were tough, made of strong stuff. So thank you, Christian. But thank you to everybody else for being here. We are obviously on Rumble as well. We're even going out on the Twatters. We've got a like and a heart on that one. That might just be me, of course. So Christian Delorme's using his member chat. He's a channel member. Please take a look at the channel memberships, folks. It does support the channel. I do appreciate that very, very much. He's celebrating 7 months of dismemberment. Boobs, he says, and I cannot disagree with boobs. Hammer realized the way forward was boobs.
They just had the revolutionary mindset of auditioning all of their lead actresses from the neck down.
From the neck down, that's right. Yeah, so the casting couch did take on a whole new meaning. So another one. One of the all-time classics. Thank you, Christian, for all your support. Thank you, everybody. Lots of wonderful.
It's Hammer. Wouldn't that make it a casting coffin?
Casting coffin. That's a good one. I like that. I'm going to use that. I don't know how, but I'm going to use it. Thank you to you all. We can see Snorty here. Tim is here. Obviously, we read out his super chat earlier. We get DJ Play Nice, the wonderful purple Valkyries here. Good to see you, lass. Gotta love those underwired night dresses, yes. Tell us more, Purple, about how awful it must be to have to wear webbing and wiring to go around your daily business. Good afternoon. Well, I mean, Pope knows all about it. Oh, that's your secret shit. I just keep it on. Good. Hi, Canadian Spider-Man. Good to see you. I'm going to miss somebody I know. Caroline Monroe is not in this one, but we do have Madeline Smith, Soul Assassin. We'll get to that. We'll be getting to the casting soon. Lots of images to show. Anyway, if I've missed anybody in the hellos, and D-Bud Martin, Mod of Mods is here, obviously. Great. So let's talk about this. Boobs, spear, and bullets, the 3 Bs of life. Indeed. Being a busy bee. So let's talk about this movie. Let's get into the business. Let's talk about the movie The Vampire Lovers, released in October 1970. Lots of fantastic poster art for this movie.
Hammer always knew how to promote their stuff, and their movie posters were usually fantastic.
They were. They really knew what they were doing a lot of the time with this stuff. And they'd always had that sensuality to a lot of their stuff, along with the horror, but they were really maxing it out in this one a little bit. So I do like this one particularly. Taste the deadly passion of the blood nymphs. Isn't that such a great tagline? And it was a co-production, this one, between Hammer Films and Roger Corman's American International Pictures. I think it was the final Hammer film that they were involved with, though, but this was a way of Hammer trying to get distribution in the American market. They always had to try and get different films companies to work with to distribute it. And to be fair, AIP were always looking for some titillating stuff to be produced, especially for the drive-in market.
Oh, yeah.
Look at this one. I love it. Persons under 16 will not be admitted. Quite right. Because they'd just be chucking their popcorn everywhere.
Yeah, right.
His purple says a little bit of scaffolding for the girls is always welcome. The over-shoulder boulder holder, as we used to call it. Torture crypt of the blood nymphs. So I'm not sure there's a crypt. Well, there's a crypt in this, but nobody's being tortured in it that I'm aware of.
Yeah, well.
Hiding an erotic nightmare of tormented lusts that throb in headless undead bodies. This film was made at the time on a budget of 165,000 British pounds, which was about $400,000. And it looks good. It's a very good-looking movie. Great sets, costumes, all that stuff. Hammer always excelled at the sets, of course.
And they reused a lot of them, so it didn't cost them an awful lot because they would keep it around and use it for like 3 or 4 movies.
That's right. One crypt looks much like another. This is the collector's edition Blu-ray, which I got recently. It's hard to find box office or ticket sales information about these old movies, but it made $150,000 in the US, but probably, and it was a big hit in Britain and globally, so it probably made its money back. Profit, I would think. Caution, not for the mentally immature. I don't know why they let me buy it then. What the hell?
Well, shit, we can't enjoy it.
So, D-Bud's really, why don't blood-sucking vampires never attack lawyers? Professional courtesy.
Oh, facts.
Lesbian vampires are definitely better than lesbian space witches, but are they? I mean, you've just ignited a whole debate there.
Yeah, I mean, I could see an argument for either one.
I could see both of them, literally. So I do love the artwork. It's just so good. So anyway, Hammer, as we say, 1970, this movie was made. They'd made over 80 movies by this point, although, to be fair, some of those were pre-1957, the older black and white thrillers and stuff that they made before they turned into the horror.
But from like 1960 really until 1975, they were just cranking out like 3-4 movies a year.
Oh yeah, and they had all those series that they had success with. So Dracula, like I don't know how many Dracula movies by this time, about 6 or 7. Frankenstein series, Frankenstein created woman. Well, that was his first mistake.
Yeah, nobody's perfect.
Nobody's perfect. The Mummy series that they did, they had the werewolf stuff. They had a lot of science fiction stuff too. They had a whole range of different genres, but the horror stuff is what mainly we remember them for these days.
And they pretty much single-handedly gave Peter Cushing a career.
Oh yeah, well, Cushing and other, they made stars out of Cushing, Christopher Lee, and other guys like that.
And Ingrid Pitt as well. She's in a ton of these as well.
Oh yeah. So Quatermass and the Pit, obviously, they're classic sci-fi. So they had a bunch of success with these, but by 1969 they were starting to look a bit passé. And this guy, Tony Hines, was the sort of key creative director and studio head. He left the company around about this time. I think he was in dispute with some of the others, including his father, who was part of the company. So kind of took a lot of the heart and soul of the studio with him. So those that remained started to look for more independent producers to come in with ideas, as opposed to everything being in-house.
Yeah.
And they had this deal with American International. So that they were looking for different producers, but they were also, you may have seen some of these before every movie at the cinema, you'd see this British Board of Film Censors, and they'd rate the movies. That's like the rating system in America. That was changing too.
Yeah, this was a period where the British government was starting to lighten up on a lot of censorship that had been in place.
Yeah, things were getting a bit more permissive, and this suited AIP and Hammer were looking to exploit these rules by getting more erotic, nude stuff in and make almost exploitation movies, particularly AIP wanted that. So what was happening was that they were X movies, which would be an R here, were for, to this point, had been over 16. So funnily enough, whilst they were getting more permissive, they said, no, it's going to now be over 18s only. But that meant they could actually show more stuff.
Yeah.
So X was better if you wanted to show more nudity and gore.
And the funny thing to me is the British used to be a lot more sensitive about that than the Americans used to be, but now it's the opposite.
They had the weirdest things. I mean, they would do, like, I'll give you one nipple if you remove one F word, kind of thing.
They went with like a scoring system.
So, well, you can have the nipple, but you're not getting the F word, that kind of thing. So this was the new direction about Hammer. They'd always had sensual women, but now they were going to go more sexual and including nudity, because I don't think they'd had, if any, nudity before that.
Very little that I know of.
No.
Maybe a couple of scenes here or there, and maybe one of the Dracula movies, but not many.
Yeah. So kind of, they were kind of. It's like a watershed. This movie, because they also brought in a couple of independent producers that had an idea for what they wanted to do, which was Harry Styles.
And this was definitely that aha moment for them, because the movie did really super well, and they had both of it. So it's just like, I know what we're doing from now on.
That's right. So Harry Fiennes,
if I put tits in here, people will show up.
That's right. Well, but that's right. Exploitation is. I mean, bums on seats was what it's all about. So Harry Fiennes and Michael Styles, these two independent producers, wanted to make this kind of content. So they came to Hammer and said, "Why don't we adapt this novel and series of novels called Carmilla I've never read these, by J. Sheridan Le Fanu." Very Irish name, but he was actually Irish. So he wrote a series of Gothic novels, starting with this one, Carmilla, in 1872, predating Bram Stoker by 25 years. And
so this is actually really the origin story.
Yeah, I mean, this is very interesting that this was so far ahead of. I mean, there have been other adaptations over the years, but this was Hammer's first attempt at it. And it was based around this Karnstein family of vampires and set in the Austrian province of Styria.
That makes so much sense now. I'm like, because people who know me, I know I'm a massive Warhammer fan, including Warhammer Fantasy. And there is the head of the vampire counts is the von Karsteins.
Yeah. So, yeah, it's a different strand of vampire lore from the Bram Stoker. Well, D-Bud, certainly there was nudity in 72, 73, but there's nudity in this movie. That's why. But Mad Martigan will be making a few appearances.
Oh yeah.
Rated X for extra boobage. So yeah, the ladies of this movie, what a fine bunch.
Indeed.
And as you say, the casting coffin.
Yep.
So Carmilla was the chosen, and there's a whole bunch of other adaptations over the years were made of these. Interestingly enough, Christopher Lee, who's obviously not in this movie, but played all the Draculas for Hammer, was in a 1963 Italian adaptation of this. But by this time he said, unless it's Dracula, I'm not doing anything. So, especially, he felt it was a little beneath him, this one. So.
Well, I mean, he also really was afraid of becoming the vampire guy.
Yeah, Crypt of the Vampire was the one he made in Italy in 1963, which was based on the same novel, bizarrely enough. So, Cryptolincubo. I can't say that. Prego. So this was the start of 3 movies that Hammer made in this trilogy, the Karnstein trilogy. Second one was Lust for a Vampire, which they couldn't get Peter Cushing or Ingrid Pitt for, so they used Ralph Bates and Ute Stensgaard, the Utes of today. So that was the second one. That one had a lot of nice scenes in it too. And then the third one, there's Yuta. She looks pretty good. And then Twins of Evil was the third one with Mary and Madeline Collinson in that one. So that was their trilogy of these. Vampire Lovers was the first one. Pretty good trilogy, actually, when you watch them all. I didn't see these at the time because, old as I am, I wasn't old enough at this point. So I actually didn't see these until much later when they did show them late night on TV in the UK, pre-VHS. And I don't recall them being cut. I think they did get nudity, and British television was okay with that stuff as long as it was late at night.
Yeah. So
the boobs were still in them, I seem to recall. It's probably why I sat up all night to watch them. So, yes, the Collinson twins. Again, women in Hammer movies must have been freezing the entire time. There's probably a guy with a flamethrower trying to keep them warm.
Right.
So, anyway, we're talking about the Vampire Lovers, but the trilogy we might handle one day. So the director of this movie was a guy called Roy Ward Baker. Quite a well-known name when I was a kid growing up. Prolific movie and TV director, British guy. Here he is with the latest technology.
Yeah.
And a very large stogie. He actually directed Quatermass in the Pit, which is one of my favourite Hammer films of all time, and 5 other Hammer films, including this banger, The Legend of the 7 Golden Vampires, which was the crossover they made with the Shaw Brothers in Hong Kong. So it was martial arts and vampires.
Because how can we top Hammer, like a vampire horror movie?
That's right.
Kung Fu.
And we got another trend. Let's get on that one.
Right.
This is a great movie, and we're definitely going to do it one day. It's a brilliant movie.
But that's one of those moments where you're just like, somebody promote that, man.
Somebody promote that. Yes, exactly. Great idea. You're hired. Peter Cushing also in that one. And also a guy that's in this movie is in that. We'll talk about later. But he directed many of episodes of my favorite TV shows growing up. The Avengers, The Saint, The Persuaders. He was heavily involved with all of those. Great director. Also directed the best movie ever made about the Titanic, which is A Night to Remember.
Oh, yeah.
Screw your James Cameron. This is the one.
Yeah, pretty much.
It's a brilliant movie, and it still looks great to this day, albeit in black and white, but it looks even better, in fact, I think, because of that. So he's an experienced director. They probably would have wanted Terence Fisher, but he might have been busy. He did so many Hammer things. Hello, Swift -1. The screenplay was by the magnificently named Tudor Gates, who also wrote the other two movies in the trilogy. I could only find one picture of him. So, so there's the wonderful Tudor Gates. And we have a new super chat. Oh, Joe, buddy, don't worry about it. I know you got things to do. We miss you, of course, on the show. So $4.99 from Joe's Atmosphere. Sorry I couldn't make it today, guys. Wrapping up the remodel and heading for Maine tomorrow to collect Mama Rivers. Hail Hammer Horror. Well, hail to you and good luck with your trip, mate. And hope everything goes well. We miss you, but we'll see you back here again soon. So we will play you something uplifting to thank you for that. So probably going to be this one.
Sweetheart, we're married.
Consider that a divorce.
It's got nothing to do with Hammer. I just like that clip. So Tudor Gates, here he is in all his glory. Oh, there he is. Okay, so there's an actual picture of him. Great name, Tudor Gates. I mean, come on.
It doesn't get any more English than that.
That's right. How English can you get? But he certainly
being named after a royal dynasty that's not even in power anymore.
That's right. He did, but he certainly knew how to write salacious movies. So because he did Barbarella as well. So the man had a penchant, as they say, for these things. He wrote for Danger Diabolic. He did do some other stuff. I just picked a few things, otherwise we were here all day. Barbarella, we're definitely going to cover one day.
Oh, yeah.
Because that's a wacky, wacky movie. Duran Duran and all that. So the reviews, I always like looking back at the reviews for the time of the movie. So somebody said, this involves the customary heavy-breathing, lusty fangs and tolerably luxurious sets with the innovation of an exposed nipple or two to support the lesbian angle. We always want to support the lesbian angle, don't we, Pope?
Absolutely.
We're very diverse here. Rather erotic Hammer chiller containing bloodshed and bosoms.
Again, that's one of the. You don't need to sell it to me any harder. I already watched it.
Selling it hard enough. Yes. There was some of the reviews were not as kind as that, but well, those were the good ones. But yeah, I mean, it does explain. It does outline like there's the erotic and lesbian overtones. It's overt displays of female sexuality, lesbian attraction, push the boundaries for Hammer, for sure, but also kept up with contemporary changes in other studios that were starting to make that kind of content. Very Gothic, though. They hadn't lost the Gothic thing. The sets, the castles, the fog.
Yeah, they were still very much true to their own style, but also kind of keeping it relevant. Yeah,
it still looks like a Hammer movie. It's fantastic. Beautifully done, all that. It's kind of over-the-top looking Gothic. It's just fantastic. And they actually, as we'll talk about Ingrid Pitt's Carmilla, she's not like an out-and-out evil person. She actually doesn't just play like Dracula like a vampire. She plays human some of the times. And she's kind of trapped in this thing too because of being made a vampire herself. She's cursed as much as the person preying on the others. So she actually puts a lot of great emotion into it. So it wasn't just, oh yeah, here's a woman going around seducing other women, biting them. She had more to it than that. So it was pretty good. So the cast, you'll have to wait for the women. I'll get to them. Just hold your horses. Hold your wheest. Douglas Wilmer.
Got to drive up that watch time somehow.
That's right. We got to drive those watch hours up somehow. Douglas Wilmer. Well, I love the trivia. I mean, there's so much trivia about this movie, and special features about it give you a lot of the background. We'll never get through it all today.
Oh, yeah.
Although I did get a lot of valuable information from this book, which is one of my favorites, Cinema Sex Sirens.
My only question is, why are the pages all stuck together?
Holy moly. Well, they're all in here, including Ingrid and Madeline. They're in here. Oh, Jane Mansfield. Nice. Anyway, great book, Cinema Sex Sounds. I've got a book about Hammer too. It's over there. I can't reach it from here. So Douglas Wilmer plays Baron Joachim von Hartog, a vampire hunter who's got it in for the Karnsteins and has encountered them in the past trying to destroy them, and he's trying to destroy Carmilla in this era. So this years before is when you first see him. He had actually, here's the trivia, he had actually played Sherlock Holmes on British television, and later on, Peter Cushing took over the role from him.
Huh.
So they're both in this movie. What's even funnier is that Wilmer had warned Peter Cushing not to do it because he said, it caused me to have a nervous breakdown because of the unreasonable schedule for filming and the low budget. He said it was dreadful, don't do it. Cushing did it anyway and almost had a nervous breakdown himself. So he never listened. But we've seen him on this show before because he played there he is as Sherlock Holmes. Look at this pipe. Isn't that a lovely pipe? Here he is as the vizier in The Golden Voyage of Sinbad, which we covered on this channel. The Lost Show that I still haven't re-uploaded to YouTube after I got copyright struck for it. So it's on Rumble, though. So if you're watching on Rumble, go look at that show. But anyway, he was in that movie, as well as many, many other things. And he decapitates a female vampire at the beginning of this movie, played by Kirsten Lindholm. She was quite cute.
Oh, yeah.
She's still alive and kicking today at the age of 81. She was in 4 Hammer films, including all of the Karnstein trilogy. She doesn't last long in this one, of course.
Right.
She didn't know how to get ahead in this movie. Well, that's a poor joke, but never mind. So anyway, Peter Cushing is the kind of like they weren't going to get Christopher Lee because there's no Dracula. So they got Peter Cushing, who was available. He's not in all of the movie, but he's still like the lead name in it because he's such a Hammer guy, as well as obviously having played Sherlock Holmes, as we talked about. He plays General Spielsdorf, who's a nobleman who eventually seeks revenge for his niece Laura's death. But we've talked about him on this show a few times in various things. Prolific actor, much loved in Britain. 22 Hammer films, more than anyone else.
And unfortunately, the movie everyone will know him for was at the end of his career with Star Wars.
Yes, that's the one that they all remember, and indeed quite rightly, but he'd done 4 or 5 decades of movies before that. Victor Frankenstein, Van Helsing, played a great Sherlock Holmes. His pipe was in colour.
Yes.
Close friend of Christopher Lee all through their lives. These guys were very close friends. But also played Doctor Who in the 2 Doctor Who movies back in the day, which I loved at the time. Still have a fondness for them now. And of course, this guy, everybody remembers.
From the movie, literally every human being has seen.
And a few aliens too, probably by now.
Probably.
Wonderful guy, though. Great guy. Lots of people still remember him fondly. His daughter, Laura, was played by Pippa Steele, first victim of Carmilla in the film. This actress unfortunately died at the age of 44 from cancer, so R.I.P. Pippa. She didn't really get a career going at all, and then unfortunately passed away, so very sad into Pippa Steele. Dawn Adams plays the mysterious Countess. I think she's up to no good. She appeared in many episodes of The Saint with Roger Moore. So back to Roy Baker and The Saint. She was also in Hammer's The Two Faces of Dr. Jekyll with Christopher Lee. So she'd been around various shows in Britain and movies. There she is with Christopher Lee he's looking quite suave there. Nice. Yep. And then she was also in Star Maidens, which I've never seen, but it's a German show. Anyone eagle-eyed will notice this guy here is from Blake 7. It's Blake from Blake 7.
Oh.
So Gareth Thomas.
It's a German show that has all British actors.
All British actors. It's like the kind of a version of UFO, the British show UFO. So it's but Gareth Thomas made an appearance. I've still never seen this show. to this day. It looks good. If anybody out there's seen Star Maidens, let us know. Then we get to the new star of Hammer. Although I think she might have had a tiny role in another one before this, but like no speaking or whatever. But so Ingrid Pitt was bringing the foreign glamour to Hammer. She plays Marcilla Carmilla Mercala Karnstein, central vampire figure in this, alluring and definitely seductive.
Oh yeah,
but tragic too. And she preys on young women seeking both blood, but also an emotional connection. She's not just a killer. She can't help being a vampire, but she still is attracted to them, and she has some human emotions, which is
in a way that makes her even more sadistic.
Well, it's more tragic for sure. Yeah. Absolutely more tragic. So she herself is a tragic figure as well as being the main villain. Well, she's kind of the second villain because there's a mysterious man in black. But so Ingrid had previously starred in Where Eagles Dare with Richard Burton and Clint Eastwood, played a British spy. Here she is. Richard, she must have had a tough time sitting on Richard Burton's lap after a few minutes, I would have thought. But Ingrid, let's be professional about this. Yes, but yeah, she was to be the new face of Hammer, although I think she also really only ended up in one other film, which was Countess Dracula. Here she's in Doctor Who. A bunch of people in this movie, about 5 of them, were all in Doctor Who at some time or another. So they all ended up Doctor Who, The Saint, The Avengers, and all these other British shows. That's the way British character actors work. But there she is in Doctor Who, bringing a little bit of sex to Doctor Who as well.
Yeah.
In The Time Monster in 1972. But also played the lead in Hammer's Countess Dracula, which is a great movie, actually. I love that movie. So Ingrid Pitt was to be the new babe in Hammer. And she does a great job in this movie, I actually think. I think she's pretty damn good. Acting-wise, not just looking good.
Yeah.
George Cole plays Roger Morton, who's a wealthy Englishman living in Styria, who just happens to have a daughter who's got a pawn shop for wearing negligees. Again, a drafty mansion house and castle. They're walking around in negligees.
They were different back then.
Yeah, that's right. Veteran British character actor, been in dozens of movies and TV shows like the St. Trinian's movie series, which I remember as a kid. But he also became a huge TV star in Britain for about 15 years in this show, Minder, with Dennis Waterman as well. He played this kind of wheeler dealer, Arthur Daly. Hugely popular. So he ended, towards the end of his career, he was getting on to close it. He had a huge hit with that for years. So well done to George. I noticed they had to make him an Englishman in this because not an Austrian, or is he just all right, mate? You know, he's a bit of a Londoner. It actually doesn't talk like that, but he is really. I've seen him in other movies where he's all right. Know what I mean? You know. So anyway, also making a big impression, this Madeline Smith. Right, Smilex. I want to just read this chat out from Smilex. I met Ingrid Pitt at a convention and she insisted on trying to sell me one of her topless photos. I had to beg for one with clothes. As I was buying it for a female friend. Ingrid, put your clothes back on. I was like, that implies that at conventions she would actually take her top off while the photo was taken with you. She was just.
She just had pre-made ones that she would sign.
I know. I was just trying to be funny. So Madeline Smith, who's still with us today, thankfully to this day, plays Emma Morton, Carmilla's latest victim and companion, innocent but drawn into a world of seduction and horror. She's another one of these British girls brought up well in a convent upbringing. No idea what she was letting herself in for in her career. Oh, you mean I gotta come on this set and take that? Oh, well, fair enough, you know. So she was also in Hammer's Taste the Blood of Dracula and Frankenstein and the Monster from Hell. She actually said in the interviews you watch of her, she said, I don't know why they hired me, because I was really thin and like stick insects for arms or whatever. I tried my best to put weight on so I'd get a bigger bosom for the parts. So the poor girl was like, why me? Why have they picked me for this? Lovely, lovely lady, though. Very well spoken. And she does a lot of interviews about this movie because she's still with us. So, Taste the Blood of Dracula, where she starred with Geoffrey Keane. Sorry, I couldn't remember his name. Geoffrey Keane, who played British Defence Minister for Sir Frederick Grey in 15 Bond movies. So, and we say that because she went on to be in Live and Let Die, although he wasn't in that one. So she's Miss Caruso in Live and Let Die, who dies pretty near the beginning of that movie, I think. Spoiler alert. But not until Roger had given her a consignment of English sausage. Roger Moore. Don't know if that played. Did you hear anything there? No. I don't know if my sound isn't working properly anymore. It's all going tits up. So I was trying to play my Roger Moore clips. Also in this, Kate O'Mara as the governess, Mademoiselle Peridot, or Peridot, depending how you speak, who looks after Emma. She had a governess who liked to wear negligees as well, which was very handy. Kate O'Mara, very well known and beloved British actress who did a lot of American stuff too. She was in Dynasty for many years with Joan Collins.
Yep.
Another British starlet who was quite happy to show a bit of skin back in the day. But she'd also been in The Saint and The Avengers, like all these people, and also appeared in Doctor Who as the Rani. And she was in The Horror of Frankenstein. So that was, I think, maybe the only other Hammer thing she did. I'm not entirely sure. So yeah, she's a much loved actress. Died a few years ago, unfortunately. The mysterious man in black, who seems to keep popping up and overseeing things here, and he's meant to be a kind of a Dracula-like figure. You never call it. He hasn't got a name. Played by John Forbes Robertson. Who we saw in Life Force, playing the role of the minister in Life Force. So we've covered him in the show before. Was also Dracula. He actually played Dracula specifically in The Legend of the Seven Golden Vampires. The only person other than Christopher Lee to play Dracula in a Hammer film. So, Legend of the Seven Golden Vampires. So we're definitely going to do that movie. Directed by Roy Ward Baker and starring Peter Cushing and John Forbes Robertson. That looks like I've seen that actor before. I can't remember his name. Another guy, Ferdy Main. All of these great British character actors played the Doctor in this. Doctors in Styria were able to diagnose vampirism pretty easily.
Right?
Yeah, they've seen it. I know what that is. Lesbian. Your daughter's a lesbian vampire. What's the cure? Do we want a cure? Do we need a cure? There is no cure. So Ferdy plays a Dracula. He also played a Dracula-like figure in Roman Polanski's The Fearless Vampire Killers movie, which was actually a parody almost of Hammer films. So another one of these weird coincidences, as it were. I just got to get rid of that on the stream. There we go. My pictures seem to have frozen. Let me just reset those. Forgive me. I'll hide that in the stream while we're doing that. So, damn computer playing up. Hope you're all having fun out there. We're going to get to some stills from the movie soon, and we'll just chat about it as we go through. Let me just fix this little problem we're having here in it. Pierre Cushing, Alan Smith, KMR Ferryman. I don't know, maybe that was the last one. Maybe that was the last image. Isn't that weird? So yeah, that was the last image. So yeah, Ferdinand. There's a few other people in the cast, but we didn't really want to go too deep in that. But lots of connections. I was just amazed by the number of people that were in Doctor Who, The Saint, The Avengers, and other Hammer films. They're all kind of like, these people must have just crossed over each other all the time. Right. Oh, Peter, how you doing, Ferdy? Yeah, Douglas, how are you? You know, Ingrid.
Yeah, I mean, the British film industry must have been so insular. It's like everybody was in another movie with somebody else that worked over here with the director.
That's right. They're all like, oh, dear boy, how are you? Ingrid, I haven't seen you naked for the last few weeks. You know,
in Hollywood, that happens all the time.
Yeah. So anyway, that was the kind of the run through the cast and others. Let's fire up some stills and we'll go through this wonderful movie. So the plot kind of opens with it's kind of like a prologue, I guess. It's Douglas Wilmer narrating it, and he's recounting the history of the Karnstein family. Here and there, that's not a model. That's not a model. It's a model. These vampires who've been terrorizing the region of Styria. I mean, what is it about Austria that everyone's a vampire? It's weird. So he tracked down what he thought was the last known vampire here, Karnstein woman, and staked her through the heart, believing it had ended the curse, but he didn't find her tomb afterwards. So he doesn't really finish them. He thinks he does, but I like this whole sequence here because they do the foggy thing. This great Hammer sets, the fog and the weird-looking castle and the crypt-like churches, and you see this figure, a shrouded figure, and you don't know. And the reveal is, of course, when it finally gets into where he is, because he's waving the shroud. It's a woman. It's a beautiful blonde girl. Which that guy was outside relieving himself, I think. So just beautiful, well-created Hammer sets. Everyone's locking the doors. And he's waiting for this character, and you're thinking you're going to get some kind of weird bloke that's a vampire. He's got a doily up his sleeve. He did look like that. He had the doily. But he's about to be dissuaded of the... It's funny, this Karnsteins, and I say I haven't read the source material. A lot of women in that. A lot of women vampires. It's an awful lot of polystyrene in that wall. He's got his big sword out. He's ready. So the Gothic atmosphere is front and center here. Fog drenched. And there we go, the reveal. It's Pippa Steele, and she's got quite a nice looking blonde girl who decides to get up close to him. And the first boob reveal in the movie. So this is the way they were going. But also he's got the cross on it. As soon as it touches the boob, she's immediately into vampire mode. And he's, I touched your boob. He's getting very upset. And then takes her head off, which I think is probably enough to do her in. So Christian, our wonderful friend, Christian Delorme, Final Revival. Sorry for demonetizing your chat, Brian. It's not monetized anyway. I mean, later on, if nothing happens, I monetize it, but not right now. Never live. This super chat should get you an ounce of whiskey, and the tip should get you the bar wench's number. Remember, everybody, always tip your bar wench, but just the tip. Absolutely, mate. Just the tip. Thank you for that, my friend. $15 super chat. You're a top man. So in that case, you have to have a very, very, very short clip. And I think it might be this one.
You're sluts.
Why? That's two Arnies. That's two Arnies we've had today. Now I've prepared some extremely short video clips from this to play. It's a Shout Factory one. You cannot get, I mean, that's why the trailer at the beginning I had to put new music under it and chop it up into different sequence, because they just shut down everything. So anything more than 9 seconds, you're screwed. So I did clip the couple of little bits from the movie. So I'll play a few of those as we go. Just about saw that though. And then now, everybody in that era had great dentists, you notice.
Yeah, right.
Particularly the vampires. But I love the look on his face when she's coming towards him, like he's never been near an attractive blonde woman before. So that's the prologue, and then it jumps forward. So it's going to jump forward a few years. Now, I love this place, and it's a real mansion they use. And this is what Hammer are so good at, these sets, these costumes.
Yeah, they're brilliant.
Magnificent and filmed in beautiful color, just gorgeous. So we meet the general and his daughter, and they're having a ball. It must be her birthday. It's her birthday.
Yeah, I think they did mention that.
Yeah, it's her birthday. So Spiel's not. Now this is funny. Hang on, I'm going to pause this. This is a real place. It's Moores Park Golf Club in Hertfordshire. You can see the chain link fence and the tennis courts.
Yeah, you can.
No, they did play tennis in those days, I think, but the chain link fence is probably a little bit.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's always why Hammer did use like the foggy backdrops and stuff like that to kind of obscure the real locations they were shooting in.
So just some of the forgive me if I don't highlight all the chats, but some of them are no tongue on the first day. 8 seconds is 6 more than I needed. These sets have great architecture. Those knockers are really impressive. Oh God, that's funny. You guys are so funny. Keep them coming. Christian Delorme. Thanks, buddy. You really are a great man. That was more than the tip. It was. So you're going to have to get something else, and that's going to have to be... I don't think I've got anything else. Oh, I've got something that mentions the word tip.
I believe, Ken, that the balance shall tip in the favour of culture.
Bruges, in Bruges. Tip in the favour of culture. Let me get that off the screen. Thank you, Christian. You're a good man. Thank goodness it wasn't bin day. He's still the garbage bins. Oh, funny. Anyway, so there's nobody playing golf. It was at night, so at least they avoided that. Now, name that band. Name that band.
I mean, I got nothing on that one.
I got nothing. I've got nothing. Can anyone name that band? There's got to be a good name for that band. Snotty and the Nose Pickers. I don't know. That guy's literally playing second fiddle. I don't know if anyone can think of a name. The Libertines. The Who. The what? Bruges is a cool medieval place. I know. It's a beautiful place. There's got to be better than go on. I think that's taken. There has to be other names. Anyway, the party's in full swing, and the guys are standing in front of the general, eyeing up his daughter, and then the mysterious Countess and Ingrid Pitt appear. She's beautifully dressed in red as well. Not looking too cantilevered here. It's when she steps outside later in the dark that she starts to look cantilevered. It's very deceptive rigging. So this mysterious countess and this mysterious girl are introduced to the party. She's going to be trouble. You can tell she's going to be trouble. And she seems to already have fixated on the young girl here. Ms. She's fixated on Spieldorf's daughter. And then another guy arrives, and this is the mysterious man in black. It's just weird that these people just turn up in this place in the middle of nowhere. And this guy wears way too much makeup.
Yeah.
I guess that's because it's at night, so at least they can be out in the open.
Yeah.
Well, I think later on you do see them out in the daylight, so it's...
Yeah, that's one of those things of we're just not going to question that. It looks cool.
That's right. So Strung Along, E Street. String Them Up might be a name for this band. String Them Up would be a good name. But right now they're into Whole Lot of Love, I think they're playing.
The Headless Honkies.
The honkies. So the Countess is... we have to rush. There's been an emergency. I guess somebody called them on their mobile.
Right.
But can we leave our girl with you in the red? Ingrid, can we leave our girl with you? Can you look after her for a while? Yes, why not? You know, who wouldn't? Yeah, it's his niece's. That's his niece, Laura, that's having a birthday. I thought it was his daughter. Maybe he's not. He's a niece. He doesn't have a daughter. Who knows? It's still an impressive place for a golf club, this, don't you think?
Yeah, it seems like it was something else before.
Like a huge mansion, yeah. I find it
somebody's estate or something like that.
So there's only a very few scenes like this in the movie. Most of it is shot on set. But there is this, and then there's George Morton's house, and there's some stuff in the woods. But most of it is on set, and they construct these great sets. But so this mysterious countess and the man in black bugger off, and they leave Ingrid Pitt behind. And there she is. There's our first real good look at Ingrid. The moonlight is shining off her. Those orbs, that orb in the sky is... She's looking pretty damn good there, I have to say. But yes, there's a lot of gravity defying going on.
Yep.
So anyway, they buggered off and left her to it. And he has one look back, and then you can see he's a funny looking guy. Something about that guy. But she befriends Laura, as she does. And she seems to have a very keen interest in the young ladies. And interestingly enough, mirrors are a thing that Ingrid Pitt's not keen on in this. Not too. How she knows she's wearing the right clothing, then I don't know. She doesn't like to look at mirrors. We can look at them. So Laura starts to get these dreams, nightmares. I quite like these sequences. You know, she's dreaming of a large cat, and she starts to become ill, and she gets these nightmares, and she's starting to feel presences in her room. And she's being oppressed. Help, help, I'm being oppressed. And screaming. She screams really well, this actress. Hammer always had good screamers.
Wonder how they tested for that.
Yeah, yes. Ingrid does look fab in just about anything. That's true. She just knows it. She did. She was very confident about that part of her thing. She actually... The tale is that she didn't care about the nudity. She was quite an exhibitionist. Later on, she kind of contradicted that, but at the time, she said, "I don't really care too much." Madeline Smith says Ingrid used to go around the set in this where they were filming the stuff as she coming out of the bath, flashing everybody. So I guess she didn't care. These Europeans, they've got no. They've got no. He's dreaming of Miss. She's dreaming of Mrs. Slocum's pussy. Well, there's a number of times where they're dreaming of cats, and then Kate O'Mara comes out at one point, I think, with a very large cat, and she's bringing the pussy into the room. It's all metaphors. You know? So they're playing the Vienna strings, playing the hit "Smoke on the Water," "Fog on the Water." So she's starting to be ill, though, which is weird. She's becoming ill, and she's having these weird dreams at night. It's very hard to get any sleep when there's this vampire lesbian stuff's going on.
Right?
Yes, so... And the windows are open, of course. I think you see Ingrid Pitt outside this in her leg. She walks around in a negligee at night everywhere. She's got no clothes. Yeah, so there she is. Yes, so she's obviously visiting the girl at night. The girl thinks she's dreaming. And Peter and his compatriot here are like, it's the doctor, are like, lovely snuff, this. We had too much snuff at that party last night. Not bad, they were rocking. I remember when that violin player set fire to his violin and smashed to pieces. Anyway, this is a weird Doctor Who movie. Hey, Dave Bob, good to see you. Thank you, everyone, for being here. It's good to see you all. So, yes, Ingrid's comforting her, but at the same time, she's obviously the... well, yeah, that's quite an impressive... If only those pillars were a bit larger, this place would be impressive.
Yep.
They're just not quite large enough. Some poor bugger has to go up and clean those every year.
Yeah.
Yeah. Send that Irish peasant up that we hired. He can go do it. So Laura's, I guess this is Laura's boyfriend. Peter Cushing he looks like he could do with some blood.
Right.
What is she doing under those covers? What is going on under there at night? Architect was overcompensating. Yeah, so the great thing about Britain is that if you want to film that kind of stuff, you can't move without falling over a castle or a mansion or something like an old bridge or something that looks great for old movies. You just can't, or period piece movies. Now this is a set, but it's a fantastically constructed set. It really does look dark, gloomy, and atmospheric. It's really good. He's going for a pint. I'm not quite sure what he's doing, but he's doing something. All right, she's getting worse. He's going for the doctor, I guess. She's getting worse. And then there's a lot of riding around on white horses, which maybe it's unicorns. It's very significant. Kind of dark shadows. Yeah. What isn't going on, Doctor, there? Is one of the ladies, Catherine the Great. So here comes Ingrid with her, I love the ruby pendant, just in the right position there to draw attention to stuff. Great hair too. She's a lovely woman. Good. She acts really well in this, so it's not just she's not just looking good. She's a good actress. Conveys a lot of emotion in this. She's really partly a victim as well. So this is there we go. The first appearance of Mad Martigan as the doctor indelicately examines the dead girl's body. Has he no shame? There's the horse they rode in. And they find some mysterious marks. Right there. Foul play, I suspect. But being Austrians, they know immediately it's a vampire. Another great set here. So I do have a couple bits of video, I think. Are they from later? No, I've got some from later, so we're not there yet. I have a few clips here and there. So we got the first victim from Carmilla in modern times. And she disappears. Well, Marcilla, she's called at this point. She disappears, fades away back to her crypt. And there you see Marcilla Karnstein with the date of death. Great, beautiful atmospheric stuff. Love it. now the action moves to another house, General Spieldorf's friend George Morton's house, and his daughter, Emma, Madeline Smith. So, friends of the Spieldorfs, so there's connection. They've all got white horses.
That's just what you do.
That's what you do. This is, she's wondering, this is interesting, this bit, because she's kind of wandering about in the woods at night. Nice shots.
Yep. I love it too. If I had a nipple for every time that happened, I'd have two nipples, but it's weird that it happened twice.
That's right. Kind of going back a bit over her history. So anyway, George and his daughter go out for a ride the next morning. This is where they get embroiled now. Apparently, this is a park that Hammer used for most of these kind of shots in their movies. And it's quite suitable and looks quite good. They find a broken down carriage. Oh, Madeline Smith said she actually learned to ride for this part. She'd never ridden before. She learned to ride.
That must be a hard thing for the period pieces is you may never have ridden a horse before.
She learned to ride, but she also specifically learned to ride side saddle, which is like with the left leg sitting on the side with the left leg crossed under the right, like the Queen used to do on official events. She says it actually looks like it's unsafe, but she says you're actually quite secure sitting like that. She says she really got into it. She really enjoyed it because she'd never ridden before, and she thought it was good fun. So this carriage happens to have the strange countess figure in it. And, we broke down and we got to have to go and do this, get help. Can you take our our daughter Carmilla in the carriage is Ingrid Pitt. Can you take her back to your place and look after her? You think they would have caught on to this? There's an MO here. Can you take this hot daughter of ours in for a few days? See, they're sitting around in like skimpy clothing. Did Victorian women really dress like that?
I doubt it. I really doubt it.
I thought they were pretty buttoned up about those things in those days. Yeah, so Smilex says, referring to George Cole's stint as Arthur Daly and Minder, it's hard to take George Cole seriously. I keep expecting him to try and sell me a clapped-out Ford Escort. Yeah, it's only got 500,000 miles on it, mate. That was his Arthur Daly character. Arthur Daly became a meme before there was memes because he was always trying to flog shit. He's a real chancer. He looks like a young Ebenezer Scrooge. He's a Scrooge. So Carmilla befriends the young Emma quite quickly, and they become close. And Carmilla at this point, you can see all the little clues because she doesn't really like mirrors or religious objects, and she really is mostly she's out in the daylight there. Though. So here's where they really Hammer really laid it on this particular sequence. So first of all, Ingrid Pitt is completely nude in this sequence. Thankfully, Mad Martigan was on the scene to save us. And yes, and she looks like she's in a Western movie with this stuff. So she's chatting away naked there, and she encourages Carmilla to try on one of her dresses, which is an excuse for Madeline Smith to strip, of course. And they're sitting there giving it's quite the webbing on there. If Purple's still in the chat, she can tell us how nice or not nice it is to wear this outfit. Or Pope, you could tell us.
I mean, it doesn't seem fun.
It doesn't, does it? Ding dong, as Leslie Phillips would say. So this is where they really laid it on in this movie. We knew what they were going for here, and so did they. So there's lots of boobs flashing around. Ingrid showed her bum. And then they have the chase, the scantily clad chase around the bed. And I love this scene. They collapse on the bed naked. And I love the two lamps. Very symbolic. So Roy Ward Baker knew what he was doing there. Very symbolic. There's clearly an attraction there. But this is interesting because I think Carmilla isn't just looking for a victim. She can't help but being a vampire.
Yeah.
And suck their blood or whatever. But she actually is attracted to these girls and wants a human connection with them. She does kind of love them. But she can't help her nature either. Her nature as a vampire. Why have I not introduced you to this movie before? Probably because I thought it was banned. I don't know. Cheers, JJ Play Nice. Good to see you, mate. So, Carmilla is hanging out a lot with Emma, but Emma's now starting to. This is a great. There's such good looking ladies. Do you want the white or the red? Oh, the red. I'll take the red.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Emma's also now starting to get the same illness as Laura. She's weak. She's having the nightmares, the dreams. She's losing blood or strength or whatever. They got the same stuff going on, and that gives her an excuse to wake up in a negligee again. I mean, for a girl who said she didn't have big enough bosoms for this role, she's not doing too badly.
Yeah, right.
She's also a good screamer. Now, Kate O'Mara now gets her chance. Kate O'Mara, her governess, gets the chance to come in, also showing a bit of cleavage. I mean, that would be enough to soothe you, wouldn't it, really? So they're all getting their opportunity to show off a bit. So Hammer really did, and there was always a bit of that in Hammer. It was just they needed to use the. And Kate O'Mara's a fine lady too. But yeah, it's got this overt depiction. And here she is. I'll go and get my pussy and bring it back for you. Like, could you just metaphor a bit harder for us? Smilex. I haven't seen this one either. It looks fantastic. I've seen at least 3 pairs of reasons to watch it later. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It's a good one. So, I don't know where the pussy went, but it's gone. Oh, no, there it is. It's still there. It's a big one, too. I mean, quite shaggy.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're really overtly depicting, for the time, 1970, it was a fairly boundary-pushing, overt depiction of female sexuality and lesbian attraction, certainly for Hammer. And a lot of the reviews and commentaries I've seen on this movie, it says that they were it was kind of presented as in a way that, yes, it was titillating, but also that they were a little bit afraid of the lesbianism.
Yeah.
You were to be a little bit afraid of it, you know? So this...
well, I think that was partially, too, because it was kind of experimental. They didn't know how it was going to be received.
Yeah. So this is what the... would you like to play with my pussy? But that's, I think, what they were going for. I mean, it was... This is what the Rani did, yeah. Kate O'Mara. Kate is great in Horror Frankenstein. She's a great actress, Kate O'Mara. She was really good in everything. And I'm glad she had a big success in America with Dynasty, which she is a hairy pussycat. I'm just encouraging the worst aspects of everybody here.
Which is, to be fair, what we usually do.
It's what we usually do. Yeah. If only we were able to persuade Courtney or Purple to come on the show, we could have said, it's not just the guys. But it actually does make for a great movie. It's just a little bit more involving then because of that aspect.
Yeah.
This Carmilla is... Yeah, I mean, she likes Emma a lot. She acts as a human through a lot of this movie. She's not just a vampire coming in like Dracula does. She's actually a human for a lot of the time, playing a human. Just as so happens that she can't resist that vampire part of her.
Yeah.
Again, lots of shots of girls in lingerie. I'm going out now. I'm hungry. Yeah, she's putting a lot of pathos into it.
Yep.
She's as much a victim as she is the prey, preying on people. And all three of the ladies happen to be in the room now. Just don't get too close.
Right.
It looks like she's saying gosh in every scene she is, really. Now, while she's feeding on Emma there at night, she's also not, that's not enough for her. So she goes to the local town and decides to have some midnight snacks. We all like to snack at midnight.
Right.
Bet you that's not Ingrid Pitt's arm. And again, another great screamer here. This woman that comes in and finds the dead. What a great screamer. So this is where I do have a couple more video clips to play. So start. And then with a suitable pause so they don't think I'm playing them together. Great screamers, they always have great screamers.
I mean, they've all got a really nice set of lungs on them. I mean,
They do, nice lungs on all of them, and then she just kind of wafts off into the fog again. She kind of disappears. I love this whole setting. They do this so well.
See, this kind of shit is when you call a witcher.
Yes, like yes, you need a witcher for that. What did they call the one that looked like a beautiful woman and changed into the monster, the Stygian? There's a name for them.
Like a noon wraith or something like that.
Yeah. So we start to. So they're having a funeral for this poor towns girl that died, poor girl in the village, which Carmilla is watching, and she gets quite upset.
Stop it! Stop it!
Doesn't like the Christian stuff. So
yeah, they're not really trying to hide what she is at all.
Not at all. No, there's no subterfuge here. Yeah, but she doesn't. I mean, again, she's not looking like a sort of evil. You know, she's emotionally upset by all that.
And I can't tell. And it's a good direction point of I can't tell if she's genuinely upset by it, or chanting has that kind of effect on her.
Yeah, I don't know what it is either. And she certainly needs Emma to comfort her. So not having read the source material, I'm not sure whether they're just the Karnsteins are like total victims of this man in black, or whether there's any willingness on their part. But if she's just a victim like all the others, she's not lost the human part of her, and it's disturbing her.
Yeah.
But she has this obviously going to have a reaction to things that vampires don't like, and it hurts her. It's a really nice balance, I think they've done, and I think Ingrid Pitt plays that quite well. You know, they go, oh yeah, she's a beautiful woman and like to do, those scenes, sexy scenes. She's actually a pretty good actress, in my opinion.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And she really does care about Emma, but she isn't able to stop herself destroying her either.
Yeah, I love some of the looks she gives her too, of like almost like, when you have to put your pet down, it's just like you put it at the same time, you know what's about to happen.
Yeah. You've been a very fine piece of friend.
Yeah.
Yes, Mad Martigan makes another appearance here, and then she's about to just she's about having another snack. She likes to snack. But it's interesting how the piercing is usually here. She usually bites here. And yes, so all sorts of sexual overtones in that one. It's some of this stuff obviously I couldn't get too deeply into. Now, Kate O'Mara also likes to sit in a drafty castle at night in the skimpiest of night dresses for some reason, playing with her quill. Yeah, and she gets there's once again, it was, I'm having terrible dreams. Could you come and just bend over me again?
Yeah, right.
Yeah, and now the third one comes in. See, the guys in this movie are an afterthought.
Right.
Pretty much. They're just like, yeah, it could have been anybody. Now, there's this. I think that the cinematographer and the director knew what they were doing in these scenes. Yeah, the guys are the afterthought. It's about the girls.
The guys are there because we need to drive the story forward.
Yeah.
But no one's there to see them.
That's right. Now she realizes that she has to do something about the governess to get her, because she's starting to get suspicious and she's always hanging around to her charge, which is Emma. So she's starting to, okay, maybe I'm going to have to seduce this one so I can keep my other stuff going. So we got a couple more clips.
Oh, no, please, I couldn't. Please. I want you to have it. Oh, no.
Oops, strategically placed.
Yep.
She's starting to work on her. She has to keep her thing going with Emma. She has to get the others out of the way or bring them to her side. And she likes fine looking women, obviously. She's alluring to these women. I guess they wouldn't expect that. They are attracted to her, whether it's because she's a vampire or just a beautiful woman. There's something about her. Funnily enough, you don't see the guys chasing after her.
No, that's an interesting one.
No, you don't. This is another famous scene from the movie where there's only so much you can show. Kate O'Mara comes back into Ingrid Pitt's room, turns the light off, and then she strips in front of the light, the moonlight there. So that's all you're getting. You're not getting anything else. Yes, Queen. So welcome, Queen Glamazona. I wonder what the appeal of these Hamill films was. I have no idea. Not a clue. I don't get it.
We're clearly not the intended audience.
I never wanted to be a pendant more in my life. I know you're just kidding. Yeah, what is the appeal? I just don't get it. It's tame compared to everything that came later.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, we've had just like full-on whatever sexuality in all the movies since. There's been so many movies have just like really gone over the top with it a lot of the time.
In a way, I think they kind of went overboard with this, and that's what ended up kind of ending Hammer in a lot of ways.
Yeah, they were caught between a rock and a hard place because they couldn't go too far because they were not. It's not like they were making soft porn smut, but at the same time, other movies, non-Hammer, non-horror movies, and even in fact some horror movies were going a lot further. Yeah. So they were the more they went one way, the less Hammer they were, and that was not good for them either. So,
and that's what kills a lot of movie studios and game designers and all sorts of other stuff. When they lose sight of what made them special, that's when the writing's on the wall.
Yeah, that's right. And they kind of started to. This was partly because of the loss of Hines, the producer, Tony Hines. I can never remember. I'm terrible with names. Who was kind of like the heart and soul of a lot of Hammer, and he left.
Yeah,
Tony Hines. Yeah, and he took a lot of that cultural knowledge with him when he left Hammer, because he'd been there. His family had been involved for so long. They just kind of lost. That's where they tried to start to do different things, but the world was moving on. If you think of the horror movie world, you'd already by this time had Night of the Living Dead, George Romero. You were about to get things like Texas Chainsaw Massacre and
we were about to go from the Gothic horror to like the 80s slasher film.
Yeah, you were going to get more devil. Like Exorcist was coming up in a few years. The Omen, all these horror was changing. I mean, Night of the Living Dead was a total breakthrough.
It was a seismic shift.
Things like that were a seismic shift. Yeah, so Hammer had to try different things, which is why it went for like the 7 Golden Vampires. It went for this Karnstein trilogy, and they did have some success with that. These were not So, I mean, these were not failures as movies. They did quite well, but it seemed like sometimes chasing a trend is not a good thing.
Yeah, you don't want to be the last guy to be doing something.
Yeah. To the Devil a Daughter, yes, that's a great movie. Great movie.
I don't think I've seen it. I'll have to check it out.
Yeah, and as Smilex said, the weird implied sauciness is hotter than the full nudity in later films. Yes.
Yeah, in a lot of ways.
It is. Sometimes it's. I mean, now. I mean, a lot of movies now, particularly Hollywood movies and TV, it's like kind of a couple meets. Let's say it's a man and a woman. We'll forget about the other stuff they do. Within 2 minutes, they're banging each other in the car or in a table or something, and it's just full on.
Yeah.
It's much more sensual, much more seductive, I think. But the charm is, I agree, they've aged. For a while they were passe, but now they've aged really well. And people like us appreciate these movies for this was a beautifully made movie. Like, production-wise, filmed beautifully, brilliant soundtrack. Everything about it is a class production. It just happened to have a little bit of sensual sexuality, and it was good-looking girls, and so a little bit of lesbian theme. I think it's aged really well, and most Hammer films have. Not all of them, but most of them. This is your typical Brit. Look at him.
Oh yeah, but I think it'd be over-focused on the sexuality stuff and kind of being stuck in the older style, but like more towards like the 50s style of horror.
Yeah. Because there's not a big difference between this, even though it's 1970 and 1958 Hammer films.
No, I mean, it kind of still had the same DNA to it. It was just in color now. Yeah,
the sets and the production design and everything is still very Hammer. They just introduced a little bit more nudity and whatever, but they did try other things, and some of them were not as successful, and it was because they didn't have the same team coming up with everything. They started to get independents in that wanted to chase a few trends here and there, do some exploitation, whatever. It didn't end so well. It's unfortunate, but they did have a fantastic track record in their time, so fair enough. Here's Ingrid at her best, of course. He wipes his teeth good. He's British. Yeah. He only eats soft food. Beautiful women in nightgowns. Exactly. Look at that. I mean, it's just beautiful. Holy moly. Another super chat from our great friend, Christian. Thank you, my friend. You're doing me proud. Appreciate the super chats very much. Keeps the lights on here. And another $5 Canadian, so that's 23 cents American. All kidding aside, Brian reached 2K subs on freaking YouTube. Let's push him over 3K, everybody. Well, appreciate that, my friend. I appreciate your support. Appreciate everybody else's support of the channel. We're up to about 2020. Now, 3K may happen. We're just going to keep on going. Thanks to people like Pope helping me out here and doing stuff. The great panelists I have, the great supporters I have. Thanks, Christian.
Now, I have to wonder, too, especially because of movies like this, how much of of Frankenstein's assistant in Young Frankenstein was based on the Girls of Hammer Horror.
Well, I think
because she's always running around in a nightgown somewhere.
Yeah, I think quite a bit. I think for Young Frankenstein's,
the famous line of "What knockers?" Oh,
it is interesting because at first glance you would say, "Well, it's a tribute to Universal horror."
Yeah,
but it has got an element of Hammer in it.
And in a lot of ways, it's both because they both.
And I can't believe they weren't aware of all those Hammer horror films because they were famous. And Marty Feldman's a Brit, so he's bound to have been. Smile X, mate. Thank you. Yeah, I wouldn't say criminally undersub because you only get what you earn. And I think we're doing pretty damn good. And I think thanks to people like yourself for supporting us. And you know what? I kind of like the way we've done it here because I don't really promote the channel hard. Because I really don't want, I don't know what it is. I want to grow, but I want to just grow with people that, like, I wouldn't buy views or subs or any of that promotion because I want people who like what we do to be here. It's kind of like a fellowship thing.
And it also makes it a lot more fun when a video just takes off unexpectedly, like that Colossus stream we did that just blew up out of all proportion.
Exactly. And that way I know that we're getting people who really like what we do and want to be a part of this, and whether it's in the chat or on the panel, and rather than people who might like one thing and then come in and say, oh, this is terrible, this is not what I expected. So I'm not saying, oh, I don't want people to follow me or subscribe me. Of course I do. But I think we're growing it the right way organically. I think, I think you're right, Pope, with what you're saying. So, but yeah, I mean, if I one day happened to get to 10,000 subs and I was getting a few super chats, I'd be fine because I'm a retired old guy. So, got to eat. But yeah, thanks, Smilix. Appreciate that very, very much. You all support me great, and I love it. And I would say just if channel memberships from 99, you've got 99 cents, $2.99, $4.99. If you think you can withstand it, get one of those, and then we can do more member stuff, which I haven't really done too much of so far. I want to do member streams and giveaways. I do giveaways for the high sticker level. Not that I don't value everybody that's watching and liking and chatting or taking part. It's not about that, but it does help if you can afford it. So, I wanted to play a video to thank Christian again. It's going to have to be something like, because I've got so many here. What's it going to be? This one.
Would you say I have a plethora of piñatas? A what? A plethora.
Thank you, everybody, for the plethora of gifts you have given me. D-Bud also heavily pimps, and I do appreciate everything. I appreciate everything you do, D-Bud, for this channel. And obviously, you're always welcome to appear on it too. But thank you for all the modding and pimping you do. And also thank you to others that are modding today, like Canadian Spider-Man. Thanks.
Well, you know how D-Bud is. He prefers to just be in the back watching.
D-Bud's a great guy, absolutely outstanding guy. I'm so proud of somebody supporting the channel and doing all that stuff, wrenching for me. Thank you, mate.
I think he's probably been one of the only guys who's consistently been around this show longer than I have.
Oh, D-Bud's a great guy. He's been here a long time, yeah, and he's still here, which is surprising. I haven't driven him away yet.
Right.
So, pimping it easy. So, the doctor here has decided he really wants to get a closer look at what's going on.
Right.
He's given the era, he's maybe never seen a breast before. I don't know.
Well, as the saying goes, I'm not a gynecologist, but I'll take a look.
That's right, yeah. Well, as a meme, I saw the meme the other day, which was every time I go to the dentist, I got pictures of mouths and teeth up everywhere. How come my gynecologist doesn't do that? I did have other clips.
Dear God, no!
Anyway, we'll come back to that one. You're saving that one. So let's. Anyway, she's looking pretty bad. She's in a pretty bad way, our girl, because she's had most of her breast drained. Luckily, she's got two.
Right.
So the doctor and Renton here, or whatever his name is, the butler, are kind of just, let's get some, because obviously they've seen vampires so much. So they're getting the crosses, they're getting the garlic flowers, all that stuff, the usual stuff.
I think it's kind of the moment too where they know what's causing it, but they don't know which one it is.
That's
so they're able to find out.
Yeah. And of course, they're putting they're just strategically placing the cross just in the right place. They had to place it several times to get it right. So it's funny, because I love the hats they wear.
Yeah.
How come the housemaids are the only ones that are not walking around in negligees?
Well, you don't want to tempt the staff, I guess.
I mean, that's just a lack of equality I find disturbing. Class system. You think poor people can't afford negligees? So, Kate O'Mara and Ingrid Pitt are obviously not happy about the developments here, because they're getting kept away from Emma because of this. Yeah. The garlic flowers are working. I didn't know garlic. I guess garlic grows, so it must have flowers.
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
I mean, it does, I think. I've never seen garlic planted like that, but I assume it does.
I assume so. Yeah, it must. It's a flower like anything else. So this is where actions have to be taken to stop people from stopping Ingrid Pitt. So she decides to actually tackle this guy who's riding off to get help. And she doesn't even make any pretense of seducing him. She basically just attacks him.
Which, in terms of, things you'd have to do for a movie, it's just like, oh no, I have to get tackled by Ingrid Pitt. And
that's right. Can we do that? Can we do that again? I didn't feel it worked.
We're going to have to do this at least 5 or 10 more.
So we need another take here. It's almost like Carry On film. Well, it sounds like a Carry On film the way we were talking about it, but it's actually not. I don't mean to sound like I'm mocking it, because it's actually a really good movie.
Yeah, it's actually a fairly suspenseful movie.
It is. And they do the Gothic horror stuff just as well as they always do.
And I love how it's not what's doing this? It's when are they going to figure it out?
Yeah, who's to blame?
The audience is in on the joke, essentially.
Yeah. It's funny how they haven't figured it out, because there's only one person in the household that wasn't there a few days ago.
And all of a sudden people started dying.
Yeah. So now they're figuring out that this has got some connection to things that have happened in the past, so they need to go and get the help of who is dealing with that, which is the Baron. Wonder what she's keeping under that hat. Or she's got a very enlarged head at the back, maybe. So George is off to on his second-hand horse to make a deal with. He's found. He's going to find the Baron and the General, and they're all going to team up. But meanwhile, this guy too is the butler's getting too close for comfort to the ladies. He has to be stopped. I love the hats. It's like Witchfinder General.
Yep.
Yeah. My hat's bigger than yours.
Well, of course, I mean, this is a little later than, like, the height of the Age of Sail, where you can tell who's in charge, but he's the one wearing the biggest hat.
That's right. My hat's the biggest. I'm a general. Well, I'm a baron. I do love the framing. I guess great cinematography, great direction, great sets, beautiful matte background, and it's just very atmospheric. And I love the dinner gong. I keep telling my wife we should get one of those. We need a dinner gong. And then the things that Hammer excel at, the great old crypts.
Oh yeah, they probably have like a selection of 5 or 6 really like overgrown kind of old crypts they keep like that.
Yeah, they just wheel that set out. But yeah, they figure out that
they probably just have a couple locations that they go to that they probably pay quite a bit to have them maintained, but not look like they're
too maintained. I've been in a few cemeteries in Britain that looked like that. There's some old ones.
There's a reason for some of those.
Some of these old movies
like this in them.
Yeah, these old overgrown cemeteries away out in rural Britain. Some of them and there's nobody getting buried there anymore. They're hundreds of years old. They do look a bit. You wouldn't want to go there at night.
Yeah.
See, all along we knew it that the Baron only remembers her boobs.
Well, yeah.
That's what stuck in his mind.
I mean, this entire movie has pretty much met the test of my eyes are up here. I know.
That's right. Up here. Yes. My teeth are up here. So yeah, they found the Karnstein crypt or area. So this is where she I think she has to seduce Renton. How could, a man? She actually seduces a man. That's disgusting.
Right?
Yeah.
Ned would be very disappointed.
That's right, yes. It's very disappointing. Still, who wouldn't? Of course he's gonna. If she comes on, she swings both ways, but only because she has to. She doesn't do it voluntarily. She's just doing it to get this guy out of the way. Again, this is a part where he'd be saying, I need to do another take. It's just not
right. He's like, I'm just not feeling it this time.
Ingrid, I'm sorry, Ingrid. I need another couple of minutes, Ingrid. I'm sorry. Yeah. So they're doing the usual digging and whatever. Now, name that band. The Undertakers. There's got to be a name for this band as well.
Well, I mean, actually, they kind of look like Richie Blackmore when he played.
Blackmore's. They do. Well, he had one of those hats, didn't he? Maybe it's his Blackmore's Night, his current band.
Hey, you never know.
Yeah, except Candace is the lead in that one. There's a woman in that band, so. Yeah, so there he's in full on gore. It's not that gory a movie. It's funny. I think some of the other ones have got more gore. There's only a little bit of blood in it.
Yeah.
There's a couple of impalings going on.
Vlad would be proud.
The Impalers. That's what they could call the band. The Impalers.
Vlad and the Impalers.
And
you know what they say? Good fences make good neighbors, and bad neighbors make good fences.
Good one. Well, it's funny because George Cole as Arthur Daly was a fence, so maybe he's just like, hey, I got this used crypt I could sell you guys. I got this used spike. Give you a good deal on it.
It's only a small spike. It's fine. Don't watch out.
2 vampires for the price of 1. How about it? Yeah, the man in black watching over it all, manipulating. I guess he's the ultimate cause of the Karnstein's downfall that's turned him into this. She's quite cute. Yeah, anyway, they've traced Carmilla or Marcilla. Mercalla, there's an anagram of Carmilla and Marcella. They traced her. They finally found her crypt area. So while they're doing that and trying to figure out which of the graves is hers, Carmilla's busy trying to get rid of the butler. And she does, so she's got nobody blocking her from getting back into Emma's room. I don't know if she knows, or she can't know or be aware of the fact that her crypt is under threat by those guys.
Yeah, because in this vampire verse, they are somewhat aware when someone is playing around with their.
Yeah. I don't think she is at this point, but she might be before the end. But anyway, they're on this. They've got to kind of hurry because they know Emma's life is at stake, but she's back in there now. Again, she's actually wants to be with her. She just can't help but be bad for her. She wants access to the boobs again.
There's at least half of the audience is sitting there going, "I can fix her.
I can fix her." She's gonna take. She does want to be with her, which is interesting. She's not just seeing as her victim, but so she's trying to get her out of the house. I guess she's going to take her with her to the crypt. The cat crept into the crypt, crapped and crept out again. And now, but Kate O'Mara, of course, who's seduced and under the spell of Carmilla, is now. She's now a bit pissed off because she wants to go with her, and she reaches out to Carmilla, who then happens to just finish her off. I think I got a couple of clips like that. This is.
Dear God, no!
I've gone ahead. I didn't have that clip. At least I don't think I've got the clip of her trying to do Kate O'Mara, because Kate O'Mara makes a great entrance at the top of the stairs with her negligee leaning over. There you go. She does it again there, except backwards. So they made sure they got the last bit of boobage in they could. But yeah, Emma's boyfriend arrives and is attacked by Carmilla, but he's, luckily for him, is a cross-shaped scabbard, handle to his. So that causes her to fade away back to her crypt, which is convenient because they're waiting for her. Because they still don't know exactly which is hers, but I think she appears and she leads them to it, in effect. The man with the fog machine was doing a good job on this day. Yeah, so they follow her back to her resting place. And we all know what's going to happen then. They're going to give her a big, long, hard spike. In the Karnstein matriarch her painting plays a part later. So this is kind of your standard Hammer. At some point in every Hammer vampire movie, someone's going to get a stake through the heart. 800 pounds of dry ice, exactly. It's a lot. There is a lot of subtext. Queen Glamozona. There's a lot to it. It's actually a really good movie, despite the fact it was kind of marketed and controversial for the nudity and lesbian stuff. It's a really great example of a Hammer Gothic horror. And it's great that it wasn't a Dracula story. They tried to do a different lore. So they're all lined up. There's a bit of, George Cole does a bit of praying. They've got the top off the lid. And Ingrid Pitt's lying there in repose. And Peter Cushing wants to get revenge for his niece, so he says, I'll do it. I'll be the guy to do it. And she doesn't see it coming. That's what she said.
The only thing that can spare the undead, necrophiliacs.
That's right. Flogging a dead horse. So that's a necrophiliac, bestiality, and based sadomasochism all in one thing. Flogging a dead horse. So there you go. The spike through, and at the same time.
Dear God, no!
I'll leave you hanging because that's the 9 seconds I'm allowed without shout cloning it. I'll leave you hanging on that one. But yes, that's when
This one for you.
he drives the last spike home like a railroad man. Emma is saved, although she'll possibly be a lesbian forever now. She might not go back. And yeah. So apparently you think, because, I mean, in this movie, yes, they believe that's the end of so the spell over Emma is broken, Carmilla is gone, and they didn't just stab her through the heart, they cut her head off too. Some of that I didn't really show too much of. They cut her head off too. So they think they've laid the Karnstein menace to rest. Well, we all know that's not how movies work, and there's a sequel. So
yeah, Hammer was outstanding at that, even in the Dracula movies. No, you think you killed it.
Yeah. So I believe even though Carmilla's dead, or Marcella, or whatever they want to call her, she is in the next one.
And there is an awful lot of that, not only with Hammer, but Universal Horror too. He died, and then he got better.
Sorry, we stuck a spike through her heart and cut her head off, but she'll be back.
She got better.
We didn't touch her boobs.
Yeah.
So, well, somebody touched them. Somebody touched them.
True sacrilege.
So there it was, Vampire Lovers, which I've watched 2 or 3 times this week, and particularly certain parts of it. No, 2 or 3 times this week, and it's a really enjoyable movie. I really enjoy it. I think
having to watch this movie repeatedly in the week, I mean, this is where your guys' support comes in really handy with the super chats, because his tissue supply's got to be running pretty low by now.
That's right, yeah. Out of them, they're all gone. But that one sequence where she comes into Ingrid Pitt's room and she's in the bath, and then she gets up fully naked, and then it's a really, really nice sequence. Very tastefully done.
For some reason, when you rent it on VHS, that part of the tape is like clear.
That's right. There's actually sellotape, Scotch tape over it. It's worn out. I don't know. I mean, the chat. I hope you all like that movie. I mean, it's a good one. If I'm going to do more, we'll do more Hammer stuff going forward. I know we've been doing the canon.
Yeah, you really only did the one stream on.
And it was about just all of Hammer. I definitely want to do the Legend of the Seven Golden Vampires, because that's a great crossover with martial arts.
And I guess this one wasn't Hammer, but we did do The Wicker Man with Christopher Lee at one point.
We did. And Ingrid Pitt is in that too, although she doesn't really do much of it. She's not got much of a role. Britt Eklund has a better role in that. But yeah, we did do Wicker Man, which is Gothic horror of a kind. Modern Gothic horror, you could say, I guess. But we'll definitely be doing more Hammer, and then Tim actually, I think I've got. So Tim, he sent me a link, FKHC 2005, our good friend Tim. I'm just going to throw it up in the stream to this particular. I'm going to get this because I think Tim was either involved or his friends were involved in this. It's a series of documentaries about Hammer, which are gathered together in this DVD, the Fanex files.
Because that's cool for research, for guys doing stuff like this, where we can research into the behind the scenes stuff and get real answers instead of just a Wikipedia article or something like that.
Well, exactly, and I do have a couple of Hammer books over there, and I've got that great Sex Sirens one, Cinema Sex Sirens, which is about more than just Hammer. But so I'm going to get this, Tim. Thank you for pointing it out to me. Fanex Films, and it's all about Hammer. So I don't know about the best. So Simon's asking about the best Hammer film. I mean, that's a tough one because they made something like 120 plus films in their run. I'm a huge fan. I mean, I've got favorites. One of them would be Quatermass in the Pit. That's more science fiction horror. That would be one of my favorites. I don't know. I mean, there's so many good ones.
I love a lot of the Christopher Lee Dracula stuff, but that's because I'm a huge Christopher Lee fan. One of my favorite actors of all time. So,
I mean, it's more. Sometimes it's not even about the individual movie, as you said. It's Christopher Lee and multiple great Christopher Lee performances. So it's about him or the characters as opposed to the movie. I think
And you can't get a better hero versus antagonist than Christopher Lee versus Peter Cushing. I mean, they're both fantastic actors.
Yeah. At the time we did that Hammer stream a couple of years ago, I kind of named 15 of my favorites. And obviously the first Dracula one is one of them, the original one that they made in 58 or whatever it was. A big fan of Quatermass in the Pit. The Hound of the Baskervilles.
That was a good
Peter
one.
Cushing is a really good Peter Cushing Sherlock Holmes, because they didn't just do. They did other stuff that wasn't just Dracula and Frankenstein, whatever. The Mummy with the Oliver Reed, not Oliver Reed, sorry, Christopher Lee is the Mummy.
And in addition to some of the Hammer stuff, we could probably also get into like the 50s Universal horror stuff, like
There's a deep
that.
connection, because Hammer took those characters and revitalized them. Oliver Reed was the Wolfman in a great performance. Devil Rides Out, Dennis Wheatley, which was, I think, a year or two before this, was a really good movie as well.
Yeah, which I think we covered in the Hammer stream, The Devil Rides Out, because I remember that movie.
Yeah, so there's
what we talked about.
So I think we're definitely going to do a few more. I think I'd like to do Quatermass in the Pit next, because there's a science fiction element to that too. So, but yeah, Plague of the Zombies is a great movie. Kiss of the Vampire, Curse of Frankenstein, the three. We did this one, but the other two Karnstein ones are great. I definitely want to do Legend of the Seven Gold Vampires, just because it's so unique.
That's awesome.
Like martial arts and zombies, and Dracula vampires.
Combining a vampire movie and a 70s kung fu movie, I'm in.
Yeah, Captain Kronos, Vampire Hunter, is another one. It also has some great points to it. I'm just looking at the materials from that last show, because I've still got them. But Captain Kronos, Vampire Hunter, had a really hard time of it.
Yeah.
I mean, that was a hard job he had. But I also did, because what I did last time was the girls of Hammer, which I did the girls and the guys. So we had Veronica Carlson, Kate O'Mara. We had Veronica Carlson on her own there. Terrible, terrible, terrible figure. This is Dracula Has Risen. Veronica Carlson shares with Peter Cushing. Veronica Carlson was one of the best.
Oh, yeah.
Hello, Veronica. Caroline Munro, of course. Great, great actress in many things, but she did a lot of great Hammer stuff. Kronos. This is another one from Kronos. Great picture. She was also in The Spy Who Loved Me, of course.
Yeah.
Another Roger Moore connection. Roger Moore's connected to all of these. I don't think he was ever in a Hammer, but he's connected to them all. Caroline Munro, great girl. Ingrid Pitt in Countess Dracula. Look at that. That's class. Vampire Lovers we've just seen, of course. And then that one. Madeline Smith, we've just seen, but this is from the Frankenstein Monster from Hell. That one is just a cover of a magazine she did. I mean, you can't claim, this woman claimed that she had no breasts. She was just skinny. Taste the Blood of Dracula, Vampire Lovers. Raquel Welch, 1 million years BC. Another Hammer movie. Also, Ursula Andress, She. What a great, look at that. That's a brilliantly set up photograph. Susan Denberg, Frankenstein Created Women. Julie Edge, Creatures the World Forgot. She's in Legend of the Seven Vampires. That's a good one. So we're getting a bit more with the modern times there. I'm not saying all the best movies have got just women in them, by the way. Jenny Hanley. She was a later one. There's Scars of Dracula, Imogen Hassel. All these great girls.
The directors of Hammer have a type.
They did have a type, very much so. Barbara Shelley from Quatermass. She was usually pretty well clothed, though. Village of the Damned, another brilliant movie.
Yeah.
Where the kids are all taking their. Yeah, we got to watch Village of the Damned. Excellent. It's one of the most chilling movies ever. Hazel Court in The Curse of Frankenstein. Lots of great girls. Marie Devereaux, Brides of Dracula, and Marie Devereaux again. So yeah, lots of great movies. I'm sure you've all got your favourites. Let's do more. So I think what I'm hearing is we need to do more Hammer.
Oh yeah.
Then we will. So thank you everybody for being here. This has been a lot of fun and a great movie. Check out The Vampire Lovers. If you get the Blu-ray Collector's Edition, there's a ton of great extras on it, documentaries. Madeline Smith's on there a lot talking about stuff. It's really good. It's very, very, very enjoyable. Thank you all for taking part. Pope, my friend, tell me what you got going on.
Well, you guys can find me every Saturday night at 11 Eastern over on my channel on Rumble for Midnight Mass, which is my little 2-hour radio show where we talk, or where I play you guys some of the greatest music I find throughout the week. Either newer bands that don't really have a lot of exposure yet, a lot of classic stuff, some stuff that you guys recommend. So, it's usually a pretty good time. Kind of like a Nights with Alice Cooper or House of Hair type.
Nice. Yes, good show, mate. I'd recommend everybody to stay up late enough on Saturday night to watch Midnight Mass. It's I've learned a lot. I've learned about a lot of stuff from you that I didn't know about before. So I'm very grateful.
That's what I try to do is find a lot of newer bands that I think appeal to not only newer fans but also the classic metal fans as well.
Yeah, well, I'm very grateful for that because I don't have my ear to the ground, so I need you to help me with stuff.
And if you're into that stuff, there's a channel on YouTube that you should absolutely be following. It's called NWOTHM Full Albums. And like when new wave traditional heavy metal stuff comes out, they will put it up on there, and it's fantastic.
Yeah, I'll check that out, mate. Thanks. So yeah, good stuff. Thank you for joining me, mate. I really appreciate it.
No, absolutely. Anytime, man.
Cheers, and thank you for all your support over this 4 years plus now of stuff.
It's hard to believe we started doing this 4 years ago.
4 years ago, yeah. Oh, God, it's incredible. And yeah. So, Christian, once again, my friend, keeping me in booze. Lying facts, boobs start at double D's. Well, I am a fan of the larger, but, on smaller frame, sometimes you can get away with the smaller ones. But sometimes it's what you do with them. And in this movie, they did things with them. So you get one more video. It's going to have to be something musical, I think. We've already had that one. Maybe it won't be musical. Maybe I lie. What have we got? Oh, right. Okay. You're going to have to get this one.
This is for me.
You can never go wrong with Chuck.
You can never go wrong with Chuck. That's right. Chuck.
At this point, what more have we done to earn your sub? We've shown you some great cleavage, a really good movie, and you got Chuck Norris in there too.
You got Chuck Norris. If Chuck Norris was a woman, he'd have quadruple D's.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't know what else we can do at this point.
Yeah.
There's no pleasing you.
There's no pleasing. So, yeah, that was a lot of fun. Thanks, everybody. Later tonight, I'll probably inevitably be on Comics Division for Monday Night Meltdown. Don't think we're doing a Toxic Tuesday in Nick's channel tomorrow, as he's going to Vegas and I'm not. Neither is Pope.
No.
We should be going somewhere else because we're not going to Vegas. But there will be stuff later in the week, I'm sure, going on. Next week, I'll probably do another gaming stream, Baldur's Gate 3, and hopefully, if we can figure out if it works, there's going to join me for some co-op play, if you're available next Monday.
Yes, I should be.
Right, but we'll try it beforehand anyway to see if we can get it to work, because I've never done that before. So that might be fun.
Doing tech support live on stream.
That's right, yeah. I like to have it all planned out, including the places we're going to go and the battles we're going to fight. So, but yeah, probably do it. I'm liking doing just at the moment a panel stream and then gaming stream, because it gives me a little bit of a break and time to make some videos in between. And I have been making a couple of videos, like I did Underlook Band thing on a band called The Motors, and then Vinyl from the Vault, and I've got a couple of other videos I'm working on. So everybody check out the channel if you haven't. And Christian, once again, flying in at the end with $2 super chat. Chuck rocks. Is that an order or is that a commentary?
Damn right he does.
Blow chunks and Chuck rocks. That means you have to get yet another video. We couldn't do Chuck without doing Dolph.
Of course not. Arnie, Chuck, Dolph, we got everybody.
We got them all. I think I've got Sly. I've got all of them here. I've got tons of these clips. Anyway, thank you, Christian. You've been you've made a happy man very old. Thank you, everybody in the chats today on YouTube. Didn't see anybody chatting on Rumble, but there were people watching, I'm sure. So thank you all for being there. And we were on Twitter, so if anybody was on there too, thank you for joining us. Thanks to everybody in the YouTube chat today. You've been a lot of fun. It's a good laugh. That's what we try to do here, and you're all here every week, and I really appreciate it. Hope you enjoy hanging out with us as much as we enjoy hanging out with you, and enjoyed hanging out with Ingrid and Madeline today, because that was fun. So we will see you again soon. I hope you have a great rest of the week, everybody. So till next time, keep on rocking. And thanks again to D. Bud Martin for modding. Thanks, buddy. And Canadian Spider-Man too. Thank you. Thanks, guys.